Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Time is running out for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. Now, I can assure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager in the summer transfer window, and he'll be probably Man United manager next season, because we've said that Solskjaer will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League. The Europa League is our only chance of winning any silverware this season, and I said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must win a trophy at Manchester United because that marks progress. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. Solskjaer did say not so long ago that winning trophies is an ego thing. He said that in regards to some other clubs and some other managers, and he says clubs like Man United trophies no longer prove success, but I do think he's wrong in that aspect. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has already agreed to sign a new 3-year contract. It's likely to be 2 years with an option of an extra one. And the new contract is worth 30 million, so he's going to be given a pay rise. Sources at Old Trafford did say a few weeks ago that talks were set to begin any day on the new deal, because Ole is now into the final year of his 3-year contract. But does he deserve a new contract? In some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. But I can assure he's not the long-term manager for Manchester United. There is a lot of Manchester United fans that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. Not so long ago, Ole outs were trending on social media after our 3-1 defeat to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. Obviously, our fans have got main explanations behind why they want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. And I do have my concerns about him. His decision-making concerns me, because in the vast majority of the games he's managed at Man United, he's been tactically naive, especially in a lot of the big games this season. He has showed tactical flexibility, but for me, he doesn't show it persistently. He needs to show it more. And another one of my concerns about him, he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, and he doesn't have that big club arrogance as a manager. And I do think that Ole is in a position that he shouldn't be really in. Because Ole knew when he'd taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. And yeah, we did give him the job too soon. Like I've mentioned on my other videos, maybe we should have waited until the end of that particular season to decide or not whether to give him the job. But we gave him the job permanently 2 years ago, reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. But if we do eventually sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who is going to come in to replace him? As far as I'm aware, at the moment there is no one available. But when we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame has stemmed from him. Not all of the blame stems from the manager. He's got to take some responsibility in some aspects. But reflecting how long Solskjaer's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience. I think Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. He enjoyed a short tenure with Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff because he ended up getting them relegated. He did manage the Man United reserve team as well for a couple of years, so he watched some of this team grow and develop. I think the main explanation why Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager is because he is a club legend. So that's what saved him. Disregarding being a club legend, I'm almost certain he wouldn't have been here now. But he's been Man United manager now almost 28 months, so that's over 2 years. I can assure that we will finish in the top 4 this season. I assured that after our 1-0 win against West Ham earlier on this season. But a top 4 finish isn't good enough without a trophy, is it? Danny Murphy said that not so long ago. I've already said to you what would represent a good season this season for Man United, and that would be finishing second and winning the Europa League. Then that would give us something to build on going on into next season. But we have got to credit Solskjaer in quite a few aspects, because we have enjoyed good periods under him where we have seen consistency, and in some of them good periods he's got the best out of the team. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over the year. I think we're unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. We are second in the Premier League. At one point it got us top of the Premier League for the first time in like 8 years. Got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. He's got us to the Europa League quarter-final. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost 2-0 to Man City. Ollie has made some good signings since he's come in. He's brought the likes of Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. Brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Igalo in on loan. He brought him in on loan in January of last year. But Igalo obviously left the club in January this year. And also brought Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Amad Diallo Traore and Facundo Pellistri. And we did loan Facundo Pellistri out. Solskjaer spent almost £300 million so far as Manchester United manager, and he has enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. He's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. We saw a few players leave in the January transfer window. Jesse Lingard went out on loan to West Ham. Since he's gone out on loan to West Ham, he's made a fantastic impact. Recent narrative said that we are open to a sensational return for Lingard and we could be giving him a new 3-year contract. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been impressed with his performances, so he may not leave Man United in the summer after all, but West Ham do want to get him permanently. They value him from between £15 to £20 million, but I reckon we'll demand more if we had to let him go permanently. But may get back into our first team if he comes back. We also loaned Facundo Pellistri out. Odion Igalo said his farewells to the club in January. Marcus Rojo left and Timothy Fosu-Mensah left. And in the other transfer windows, we've seen a lot of other players leave. We've seen Young leave, we've seen Valencia leave, and they were 2 long-serving players at Man United. Seen Darmian leave, seen Smalling leave. Smalling was a long-serving player at the club. Seen Ander Herrera leave, seen Fellaini leave. Seen Angel Gomez leave, seen Sanchez leave, seen Lukaku leave. We have loaned quite a few players out as well. Loaned Diego Dalot out. Loaned Tahith Chon out. Loaned James Garner out. Loaned Dylan Levitt out. Also loaned Joe Pereira out again for another season. I think we also loaned Dishan Bernard out as well. And Ollie did well last season in his first full season at the club. He got us a 3rd place finish. That's the second highest we've finished since Ferguson. And he guided us to 3 semi-finals. So in total we've been in 4 semi-finals so far under Ollie. Solskjaer has not yet got us to a major final. And we went on the 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. So they are the positives. In basket. In basket. Why? Why? But yeah, this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. I reckon Solskjaer needs at least £200 million if he is to get the players he wants to recommend in. He said earlier on this season that our transfer budget had been revealed and it was £80 million. A lot of United fans were shocked in that aspect because we know £80 million is not enough for us to get the players we want to recommend in. But we are going to sell players in the summer transfer window, so in that aspect we're going to generate money and it's going to help us with our rebuilding process. Ollie did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual in the summer transfer window due to the pandemic. I've already identified the weaknesses in the squad. There's a few areas we need to strengthen up. I think we need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre half. There was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that we are in search for a right back to provide competition for Wan-Bissaka. I'm expecting Solskjaer to get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window anyway, because Woodward believes that Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He released a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him and he's... Yeah. Like you say, off, but from the kitchen, they put it in the bathroom. Really? And that's what they're doing? Yeah, see how good they're doing. Yeah, for that's great, isn't it? And in general, he's come out several times to show his support for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Even during them bad periods, Woodward assured that Solskjaer's job was safe. Obviously, we've got John Murtough as our director of football, and it was the right decision by the club to get a director of football in. Because I said, didn't I, that's one of the structural changes that we needed at the club. And John Murtough knows the club inside out, because he's been at Man United since 2014. And obviously we've got Darren Fletcher, who's our technical director. He endured 2 decades as a player for Manchester United, so he knows the club through thick and thin. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has already had the transfer summit with our new recruitment team, and obviously he's discussed our transfer targets and he's discussed our transfer plans for the summer in general. But there has been a lot of players on our agenda. On my recent video, I give you the news on Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona. According to Spanish outlet Sport, Man United want Ousmane Dembele. We are preparing a bid for him in the summer. We have been in contact with his representatives. Now, Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist and close to Man United, he says that Ousmane Dembele is set to hold talks with Barcelona over a new contract. I think Ousmane Dembele is valued at around £50 million. We was looking to get Ousmane Dembele on loan with an option to buy. Ousmane Dembele has been at Barcelona a few years now. Barcelona got him in a deal worth £135 million from Borussia Dortmund in 2017. Barcelona paid £97 million up front and the rest was in add-ons. Ousmane Dembele's got 15 months left on his current contract. He's sustained quite a few injuries though at Barcelona, but still young, got a lot of development in him, just the age of 23. There's been a few winners on our agenda. You obviously know the news on Pedro Neto from Wolves. There was narratives coming out not so long ago saying that we are eyeing a 50 million plus move for Pedro Neto. We're seeing him as an alternative to Jadon Sancho. Pedro Neto had a trial at Carrington back in 2016, but we didn't get him because he wasn't impressive enough. He was a teenager when he had the trial at Carrington, but his performances for Wolves have been outstanding. You know, Wolves paid £18 million for him from Lazio. He was on loan with Lazio, then Lazio got him permanently. Before he was at Lazio, he was at Braga, and he's just the age of 21, and he's well proven in the Premier League. Jadon Sancho, obviously he's another right winner on our agenda. Do you think we could still sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window? You know, Jadon Sancho was our number one priority target last summer. But the main explanation we didn't get him is because we was reluctant to meet his £108 million valuation. We was only willing to pay so much up front for Sancho. But he said a few times last summer, you know, that the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed, but we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee. Fabrizio Romano, he's spoken a lot about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga, and so too has Bill's Christian Fark. But we had until the 10th of August to sign him last summer, but we missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. Earlier on this season, Jadon Sancho made an admission saying that he has endured a difficult season at Dortmund. But analysing the vast majority of Jadon Sancho's career, he has been very, very consistent. I think this is Jadon Sancho's fourth season at Dortmund. He's got a contract with them till 2023. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. The main explanation he left Manchester City is because he didn't get assured any first team opportunities. And before he was at City, he was at Watford. He was at Watford from the age of 7 to the age of 14. It said earlier on this season that we was preparing a £50 million bid for Sancho, and it said actually Dortmund had reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million. Now, there's been some strikers on our agenda. Now, obviously, you know the news on Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer worked with him at Molde. Solskjaer gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16. And Solskjaer said earlier on this season he was following Erling Haaland's progress, and he said he's keeping in touch with Erling Haaland. And recent narratives have said he keeps calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United. Borussia Dortmund have revealed their asking price for Haaland. It's £154 million. Dortmund are going to find it extremely difficult to sell him if they are demanding that much. There's a good chance Haaland will leave in the summer transfer window, especially if Dortmund fail to qualify for the Champions League. Erling Haaland's father, Alf Hinch Haaland, before has spoken about Haaland's transfer links to Man United, and he's spoken about his son's career and his prospects, and he's actually advised him to join Man City. But back in December 2019, don't forget, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. But Haaland, you know, since his arrival at Dortmund, he's been a revelation. You know, he's been there over a year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2025. four. He does have a £68 million release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. We actually want Erling Haaland over Harry Kane. Harry Kane, there's been a lot of narratives coming out regarding him recently. He wants to leave Tottenham because he is unhappy. David Einstein was talking about it recently, and he said he spoke to people and he said that Kane wants to leave. He said he's committed to Tottenham whilst he's there, but he wants to win trophies, and Kane's not experiencing this at Tottenham. Harry Kane recently dealt Tottenham a major blow. He's refused to commit his future to the club. He's delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros. But we're going to have to pay around £150 million to convince Tottenham to offload him. Tottenham value him at £150 million, but we're in search for a number 9, just like Manchester City are. And there's been quite a few centre-halves on our agenda as well. We are going to sell players in the summer transfer window. I think there's a good chance Cavani's going to leave. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer because he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. I think there's a good chance Donny van de Beek will leave because he's not getting enough opportunities. That's the reason I think he should leave, because he ain't getting enough opportunities. But I think Donny van de Beek is a good player, but we just don't use him enough. Nemanja Matic, good chance we'll sell him. There's a good chance that Juan Mata's going to go. Pogba could still be leaving, but there again he could be staying, potentially past the summer. Jones, I'm expecting him to leave. Romero, expecting him to leave. Will we loan Brandon Williams out? David De Gea, a good chance we'll sell him. Will Man United sell Eric Bailly? And I think we'll be looking to get rid of Diego Dalot permanently. But in the last 8 years, nothing has changed at Manchester United. It's just been an ongoing cycle of inconsistency. The board has been one of the biggest issues at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. And in general, the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. We spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years on players. And we've brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired. And Solskjaer is inheriting players from other managerial eras. There's still some players here from the Mourinho era, but Solskjaer's got rid of a few players that we had under Mourinho. There's still some here from the Louis van Gaal era, but the vast majority of the players Van Gaal brought in are no longer here. And there's still Matt here from the Moyes era, and there's only 2 here from the Ferguson era, and that's Phil Jones and David De Gea. 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson retired. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months, the worst manager we've ever had. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Van Gaal after 2 years. He did win the FA Cup, and we sacked Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies. I think it was in his first season. He got 2nd in his first season. So Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United. But mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's one of the main explanations why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. But we haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired. I've said time and time again that no one is going to replicate what Ferguson did. No one's going to last as long as Ferguson did either. Ferguson endured what a 26-27 year tenure. Won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. So he brought success to the club, did Alex Ferguson. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. Good job we didn't sack him any time that 4-year period, because we probably wouldn't have had hardly any success now. Because before Ferguson, we was inconsistent. We weren't good under Ron Atkinson. We weren't good under Wilf McGuinness. We weren't good under Frank O'Farrell. We got relegated under Frank O'Farrell back in 1974. At one point as well, we did have Matt Busby. But there is good players at Manchester United, and I said analysing our current squad, it is good enough to finish at least in the top 4. But it's not good enough to win the league as yet. You know, we need quite a few more signings if we are to challenge for the league. And I've said it in regards to Solskjaer, I don't think he's good enough to lead us to a Premier League title. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so that's what, 8 years ago now. Don't forget, we have won 20 titles. But our two best players by far this season have been Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes. Definitely. Eric Bay, I've been impressed with him in the games he's played in, but now he doesn't really get in the team, so his future is in doubt. Contract talks at the moment for Bay are on hold until he has assurances over his playing time. Aaron Maguire, he's done well in some games, but he's been poor in other games. He wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. And Wan-Bissaka, he's done well in some games, but in other games he's been poor. But Bissaka's got to be good persistently. Just needs to show more attacking intent. Dean Henderson, I've been very, very impressed with him this season. I think Dean Henderson should now be our number one because he's reliable enough to be our number one and he's got that experience behind him. Paul Pogba, you know, we've been getting the best out of him in recent months. Come back from a thigh injury not so long ago. Paul Pogba, by the way, has got his £300,000 Rolls Royce back, according to recent reports. There's been narratives coming out today saying that Juventus have offered us Paulo Dybala in a swap deal for Paul Pogba. You know, McTominay is a decent player, but he's not on that level as wanting to be as yet. You know, Fred can be good, but he got a lot of criticism, reflecting on his abysmal performance against Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. Fred certainly wasn't worth the £52 million we got him for from Shakhtar Donetsk. Donny van der Beek's a good player when he plays. Mason Greenwood, he's done very, very well since he broke into our first team squad. Rashford's a good player. We need to keep Marcus Rashford out on the left because that's where he's more effective. He's obviously been out of injury recently. He's become a bit injury prone, Rashford. He's sustained a few injuries now at Man United. You know, Cavani, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. There is quite a few players that don't get in our 11. You know, Williams doesn't get in our 11. Tellez doesn't get in our 11. Jones doesn't get in our 11. Romero doesn't. Axel Tuanzebe doesn't. You know, Juan Mata doesn't. So, you know, there is quite a few. Now, we'll be doing another video later on, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.